Were you raised as a Congregationalist?
I was. I actually belonged, and I went to church from the time I was about 4 years old at the West Auburn Congregational Church in Auburn, Maine, which was a small kind of congregational church in the country. We probably had maybe 50 or 60 members, but we had church school, and I did youth group there, and I joined the church there and was baptized there.
So how did you get to this church?
After I'd gone to graduate school, I met my husband in Virginia, and he got a job offer at Pratt & Whitney in East Hartford, and so we moved to Meriden. I had a sister who was living here in the area, so I then joined the church that my sister was attending, which is First Congregational in Meriden, and I was actually the director of Christian education there. I went to divinity school while I was a member at First Congregational in Meriden, and I was ordained 25 years ago this March.
Oh, really?
Cool.
At First Congregational Church in Meriden. So, and then I had a job with our state conference doing youth ministry and Christian education, doing teacher training programs and various things. And when that position ended, I got an invitation to come here to Wallingford, and so I've been here since the middle of 1994.
Yeah, that's the year my brother was born. So what made you want to become a reverend?
When I was working, because I originally started out to be I was a history major, and I got a graduate degree in American history from the University of Virginia. But when I was working I was a member at First Congregational Church in Margaret, and I was working as the CE person there. I really felt a strong call to do this ministry as my vocation, and so it was a result of my experience at the church in Meriden, and my feeling that there was more that I could do, and so I applied and got accepted at Yale Divinity School.
So, in your opinion, how does Catholicism differ from UCC?
Some of the differences. There are some similarities. I mean, obviously, we're all followers of Jesus Christ. Yep. We're Trinitarian. We believe in Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But the structure of the church is different. The Roman Catholic Church has, bishops, has a pope, bishops, unmarried, generally speaking, priesthood. The United Church of Christ doesn't have that kind of structure. We're sort of individual churches, but in covenant with other churches. So First Congregational Church Wallingford is in a covenant relationship with the other churches that are in the New Haven Association and the Connecticut Conference and across the country in various conferences that are UCC churches. But when it comes to things like selecting its pastors, the local church has the role and authority to form its own search committee, work with the wider church, but it doesn't have a higher authority saying, this is the person you need to have to be the leader of your church. And it doesn't have the same hierarchical kind of structure. Right. The other thing is that we recognize two sacraments, Holy Communion and baptism, and obviously the Roman Catholic Church recognizes as sacramental other things which we recognize as maybe rites of the church, but not at the same level as sacraments.
Yeah, we learned about that.
Yeah.
So, do you think that there's a difference in the communities versus Catholicism in UCC?
I think there are some differences. Perhaps because of, say, the structure and how, the role that lay people take in the life of the church. But I think in terms of commitments to, living out the teachings of Jesus, caring for people, I think those are common across the denominations and across the Protestant Catholic divide as well. And I think we do an awful lot more with one another. There were times when there was a real chasm between Protestants and Catholics. I think that's not as much the case, although there still are some differences.
So what's your favorite part about your job?
I love the variety of it. I really love working with people at important kind of times in their lives whether it's as later this morning I'm going to have a baptism, working with the family, meeting with the family, kind of getting a sense of how they see their child as really a blessing and what their kind of hopes are for their family, working with couples as they're preparing to get married, and in an interesting way, working with families at the time of a loss and helping them to say a good goodbye, kind of really trying to frame a funeral service or a memorial service that really speaks to their needs and, kind of celebrates the life of the person that they are honoring and saying goodbye to. And then I love teaching, and just I get to work with different age groups, which is really nice. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, yeah. I think that's all the questions that we had.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.